between the bills piling up, my mother not being home as often, and just the fact that he couldn't sleep very well at night.
Um, no, I guess through that experience, I mean, he was still being tough. Did he complain to you?
No,
Uh, but in the few days before this incident, there were issues going on with him that you could see that you probably hadn't really figured out or thought much of.
correct.
Okay, so now I want to talk to you about October 19th because you were there at the house that day earlier, correct?
Correct.
Okay, what do you remember about the start of October 19th? What happened that morning? What went on that day?
The start of that morning, I had school that day. I know my dad did not go to work. He woke me up before my alarm and asked me if I wanted to go get Dutch Bros and McDonald's. And that's exactly what we did. And he took me to school.
Um, okay, so that's you were at Madison High School at the time, right?
Correct.
Okay, so you went to school. What happened after school was over?
After school was over, I had track practice, so my mom picked me up from school. And that day I was getting ready to go to a concert. Um, and so she took me home and we pulled into the driveway and she asked me where my dad was. And I said, "Oh, I'm not sure. Like, he didn't tell me anything." And she was like, "Well, I need the girls." And I said, "Okay, I'll text him." So I went inside of the house. I started getting ready for the concert. Me and my dad are texting back and forth. I had called him multiple times before he started answering his phone, and he had told me that he took my sisters to the movies to go see the Barbie movie since it had just recently came out at the time. And whenever I told my mom that, she was like, "Well, he didn't tell me anything." And I said, "I apologize." And she
Okay,
took me to my best friend's house.
all right. So she drops you off at your best friend's house, and I guess that's the last time you left the house before you came back after everything had happened.
Correct.
Um, now, I guess in that time you were gone, uh, your mom and dad did get into an argument. Did you know that your mom had called the police?
I didn't know until after the fact.
And then you know that Jesse shot two police officers. You know that now. You weren't there, but that's something that's obviously been one of the biggest deals of your life ever since it happened.
Yes.
Um, you were the only person of, you know, I guess almost adult age in the house that day, besides uh, Jesse and Lynette. What are your thoughts on what happened? How could your father have done something so out of character? What is your opinion on it at this point?
I never thought I would be sitting up here giving testimony. But I mean, that day it was just so much for him over the past 2, 3 years. And I mean, that day it was just the perfect storm for him. It was the perfect collection of words and actions happening all in the month of October. And it was barely halfway through.
Uh, as your mother told you that Jesse's eyes glazed over right before this happened when they were having an argument,
Yes.
you had discussions with her about that, right?
Yes.
Um, I mean, something breaking him? I mean, do you know? I mean, you know this man about as well as anybody in this world. I mean, he did a bad thing. I mean, a horrible thing.
Yes.
He's been such a good guy his whole life. Like, I mean, with zero problems. When I mean zero, like zero.
Mhm.
Judge, I'm gonna object to leading.
Sustained. Sustained.
Uh, how different was that action from the man and father you know?
It wasn't him. he wasn't being himself in that action.
All right, the jury certainly has hard decisions as far as figuring out. Do you have opinions on what you would like to see happen to your father?
I mean, I feel as though he is better now. I know that for certain.
There's been some testimony that you know, in 2 years he's been in jail. He's had no write-ups, like basically perfect behavior.
Mhm.
That consistent with the man that you know,
Yes,
somebody who just never causes problems with anybody.
correct.
Are your mom and dad officially divorced now?
Yes,
Has your mom moved on in her life?
yes,
Other relationships?
yes.
Do you think your father is in a better space in his head now than he was October 19th, 2023?
Yes,
You all talk regularly on the phone?
yes,
Do a lot of his family members talk on the phone?
yes,
He gets 1 hour a day where he can make a phone call, right? Does he try to use that hour every day he has to stay in touch with his loved ones?
yes,
Do you know if he knows what he did was wrong based on your conversations with him?
yes.
Do you fear whether your father could put himself in a position, anything like this in the future? Do you think that's a real possibility or as unlikely as anything you can think of?
I feel like it's very unlikely.
I'll pass the witness.
State.
Okay, good morning, Madison.
Good morning.
I understand that this is tough for you, but I do have a couple of questions that I need to ask you, okay?
Okay.
So I want to kind of start out about your childhood. So from what we've heard from multiple witnesses, it sounds like your dad was a very hardworking man that provided for his family. Would you agree with that?
Yes, ma'am.
And so I kind of want to talk to you because you talked about him being employed in the oil fields and then also in towing. So when you were a child, do you remember when he was employed in the oil field, would he kind of be gone for weeks at a time at work?
Yes,
Okay. And then he would return to the home and stay there for like a week maybe and then have to go back to work. Is that fair to say?
yes,
Okay. And then or I guess when he was either CDL driving or doing the tow truck driving, at some point he was working an overnight shift. Is that correct?
that is correct.
Okay. And so during that time, I guess a lot of the responsibility as far as child rearing, like taking you to school and cooking your meals and stuff, the majority of that kind of fell on your mom. Is that fair to say?
It was about 50-50.
Okay. But I mean, usually when somebody works night, they have to get their sleep during the day. You would agree with that, right?
When he was in the towing company, he would work days.
Okay.
Sometimes overnights, but it was mainly during the day that he would work.
And so I guess you said you're 20 years old, right?
Yes.
Okay. And so I guess you don't have any children, right?
No.
So you're not really familiar with like things that would go on in a marriage or like strains that a partner, a father of your children being away could have on like a marital relationship, right?
I mean, I know how hard it can be. I lived it from a childhood perspective.
Okay. So it was kind of hard on your family that your dad, even though he was providing financially, that he had to be gone away from home to do that, right?
Correct.
Okay. And so I guess kind of with that dynamic, I mean, because your mom is the one that's there majority of the time, like 24/7, the discipline aspect kind of falls on her, right?
Not entirely.
Okay, but you said your dad was rarely kind of disciplined you, is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay, and usually, I mean, normal dynamic in situations like that, where one parent has to be away providing for the family and one is staying in the home, you would agree with me, right?
Yes.
Okay. And so now I kind of want to talk to you because Mr. Acevedo was saying, and you said that it was a perfect storm of things that occurred in the month of October of 2023. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay. And so were you familiar with any specific instances of conduct between your mother and your father other than the slap that you described to the jury?
Like physical?
No, just like threats or arguments that were going on at the time.
I know about some arguments, but threats? No.
Okay. Um, just give me. Because what you described to this jury is that you've known your father to be a good man and that you treated your mother like a queen and everything like that. Is that correct?
Correct.
So I'm going to show you what has been entered into evidence on State's Exhibit number 1. If you can't see the screen in front of you, just feel free to turn around and look at the big screen, okay? So in State's Exhibit number 1, that date right there is January 13th of 2023, correct?
Correct.
And you're aware that this is a screenshot from your mother's phone, correct?
Correct.
And so that means that the text that your mother is sending would be in blue bubbles, correct?
Correct.
And the text that she's receiving from your father would be this gray text right here, right?
Correct.
Okay, and so were you aware that in January of 2023, your father made a threat to your mother in which he states, "We need to put it in the market before I burn this bitch down"? Were you aware of that?
I am now.
Okay, but before today, you weren't aware of that.
Correct.
Is that consistent with your dad's character?
No.
Okay, and that's not really consistent with a perfect storm just occurring in the month of October of 2023, correct? Is it something that had been going on since January of 2023?
Like I said, it was a collection of actions and words not happening only in the month of October, but from my Tío Güero's death as well. It does take years to get to that point.
Okay, so I guess maybe I just misunderstood you because the way that you described it was like everything occurred in October of 2023. But if I'm understanding you correctly now, you're kind of describing it as like a snowball effect of like everything just coming downhill. Is that what you're saying?
More so, yes. It was more so of a slow progression.
Okay. And then regarding the slap, there's been a lot of mention that your father has had no prior criminal history up until now, and you're aware of that, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and then regarding him slapping your mother, are you aware that even if there are no injuries, that is a criminal offense in the state of Texas?
I am now.
Okay, and so your mother could have called the cops on him in January, and he could have been arrested on that. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and do you feel like that was out of character for him to do in January of 2023?
Yes, ma'am.
And you stated that you were surprised by that, right?
Yes.
Okay, but the only thing that you told him to do was to not do that again. Right?
Yes.
And I'm not trying to be hard on you because really it's not the responsibility of a child to, you know, correct their parents' behavior. But with that, did you ever think of maybe calling the police on him to get some type of intervention into what was going on?
No.
Okay. And why is that?
Honestly, I don't have an answer for that. I just knew from there that nothing like that would ever happen again. But unfortunately, something a little worse happened. However, at the time, I knew in my heart and in my mind that he would never do it again.
Right. And that's understandable, right? Because that's your dad and you love him, right?
Correct.
And so then when we're talking about what happened in October, looking at text messages from October 19th and 18th. Well, let me back up. Okay, so you stated on October 19th, 2025. It seemed like in the morning it was, 2023, excuse me, the date of the offense. It seemed like in the morning it was a fairly routine day for you and your father. Is that how you describe it?
Yes.
Yeah, like him, taking you to Dutch Bros and McDonald's and having a good time with them.
Yes.
Okay. And so I guess were you aware that he was homicidal at that time?
No.
Okay, and so you weren't aware of text messages that he sent to your mom, asking him for the address of her lover?
No.
Okay, so I'm gonna show you specifically that number 7. And if we look at the date on that, that's October 19th of 2023, is that correct?
There's no year, but I'm guessing.
But it says October 19th, right?
Correct.
And then if we look down here, this would have been after he dropped you off at school, right? You would have been at school at this time.
Correct.
But if we look at what he's texting your mom, he says, I'm gonna go kill that motherfucker. Were you aware that he's having those feelings?
No.
And so when we talk about the offense that happened, the shooting of the 2 police officers, for a while you blamed your mom for what occurred, is that correct?
In a sense, yes.
Okay. And why is that?
I didn't blame her for the offense. I blamed her for the fact that she left home and did not tell me.
Okay. And was that just in the month of October or earlier in the year?
She left early in the year. I had gotten home from track practice and I heard it from my best friend's mom that my mother was not going to be home at the time. So I felt as though my mother abandoned me at home. But
that's understandable. And so when you said that your dad was doing everything to keep his marriage together, you were really not familiar with the inner workings of the communications that he was having with your mom, like outside of your presence, right? Like as exhibited in these text messages.
that's correct.
And so I'm not sure if you have like much romantic relationship experience due to your age, but in analyzing those texts, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be rude.
No, it's okay.
Yeah. But in analyzing those text messages, that doesn't really seem like somebody that's doing the best that they can to salvage their marriage, right?
That's correct. It's very out of his character.
And so then when we're turning to the offense state, I mean, and blaming your mom, she's not the one that purchased the firearm, right?
No.
Okay, and she's not the one that kept the guns stored openly in the home, right?
No.
Okay, and she's not the one that went to the gas station and purchased gasoline to keep there in the home, right?
No.
Okay, she's not the one that grabbed the blowtorch on that day, right?
No.
And she's not the one that locked herself in the home, correct?
No.
And she's not the one that grabbed that AR-15 and set up in a tactical position to shoot 2 San Antonio police officers, correct?
No.
That was all your dad's doing, right?
Correct.
And I want to show you what has been entered into evidence as exhibit number 59. Do you recognize what is depicted in there?
My room.
That's your room, correct?
Correct.
And I mean, does that cause you any concern that your dad committed this offense from your room?
Say that one more time.
I mean, like, does that concern you that he committed the offense from your bedroom?
It does concern me that it was my room.
Because I mean, you weren't able to return to your room, correct?
Correct.
And if we look at safety exhibit number 61, I mean, you wouldn't be able to return to your room with that many gunshot defects in the wall, right?
Correct, but those gunshots were not my father.
Well, we'll get to that. But my point is that your father had a choice to make that day. You would agree with me, right?
Correct.
And the choice that he made was to enter to your room, see all of your belongings in there, and choose to make a statement to your mom and shoot two police officers instead of seeing your belongings and choosing to remain present in his family's life.
I feel as though if you're not in the right state of mind, all of that does not cross your mind.
And then regarding the night that it occurred, even though you never really made it to the concert, did you?
No.
Okay. I guess someone called you and let you know what was going on.
Correct.
Was that person your mom?
No.
Okay.
She did not call me at all that night. I did
Okay.
not talk. I did not speak to her after she dropped me off at my friend's house.
And so when you return to the scene, you're kind of emotional when you return to the scene, right?
Correct.
And you're not sure what's going on the scene, right?
Correct.
And so even though your father has just shot two police officers, you were still kind of relying on the police department to be kind, respectful, and professional with you and update you as to your father's well-being, correct?
Correct.
And they did do that for you, right?
In some sense.
Okay. And when you arrived on the scene, you stated to the police officer that you didn't want to talk to your mom at all, right?
Correct.
And that's because you were mad at her.
I was mad at the situation.
Okay. And you were also worried about your dog because your dog was in the home when this occurred, correct?
She wasn't inside of the home. She was outside in the backyard.
Okay. But still, when you arrived, you didn't know what state she was in, correct?
They did tell me that she was alive and well.
And when you say they, is that
The San Antonio Police Department.
Okay. And then when we're still talking about this perfect storm, are you aware that really what set your dad off that day is that your mom wanted the home? That's what they were fighting about, of her keeping that Alta Puerta residence. Did you know that?
I was not aware of the contents of the argument. However, she was stating that a million times beforehand.
Okay.
And at one point, my dad said that she can have it.
Okay, so if we look at case exhibit number 6, then are you aware that on the 19th of October, your dad was sending your mom text screenshots to indicate that he was going to sue her for child support for you and your sisters?
I have not seen this, no.
Ron, I'll just say that that question mistakes the evidence, what the message says, so I'm going to object on the statement evidence.
That was the testimony from the witness to that. And the screenshot is clearly depicted the child support guideline percentage.
All right, the objection will be overruled. You can answer if you can answer.
Wait, one more time?
You can answer the question if you can answer the question.
Okay, what was the question?
I think you already answered it. You just said that you weren't aware with the contents of the text message, correct?
No, I've never seen that text message before.
Okay. Just give me one moment, okay?
Okay.
And I guess when we're talking about the slap, even though you said that your dad described it as just like a backhand, I mean, that's never okay to do to someone if you're arguing with them. You would agree with me, right?
Yes.
Now, I'm gonna show you what has been entered into evidence as case exhibit number 27. So you would agree with me after seeing that your mom had no choice on that date to protect herself, your two little sisters, and other neighbors that were in the area. She had no other choice but to call 911 on your father. You would agree with me, right?
She called 911 before the shots occurred.
Because your dad was trying to set the house on fire. Are you aware of that?
No.
Okay. Well,
This tablet is dying.
Oh.
Did you want me to plug it in?
Oh, it should be fine.
It's at 3%.
3%.
Yeah.
Ah, just give me a moment.
No, that's okay.
People tend to do this. They move things around. But thank you for letting me know.
Yes, of course. You need help.
Oh, no, I shall see. Sometimes people unplug things. Ah, there we go. Thank you.
Of course.
okay, so I'm gonna show you what has been entered into evidence as case exhibit number 9. Okay, and so in case exhibit number 9, that was before your mom called the cops, but you'd agree with me that we see your father pouring gasoline all over the driveway and then going into the garage with the same gasoline, correct?
It doesn't look like he was pouring anything. It looks like he just walked up and she grabbed it and some of it spilled. What happens in the garage, you can't really tell.
Okay,
Is
because
it's
there's
out of
no
frame.
camera in the garage, but there's been an arson investigator that testified that there was gasoline that was found in the garage, and your mom was never in the garage, right? You would agree with me?
Correct.
And so, going back to my question, your mom had no other choice but to call 911 on him, because had your home caught on fire, that presents a grave risk to all the other people in the neighborhood. You would agree with me, right?
Yes, there's no doubt about that.
Okay. And then you were talking about your father having insomnia, but I was kind of confused by the testimony because you stated that he was like sleeping a lot and then you would go wake him up to like eat dinner and then he would wake up for work. Is that what you said?
Correct.
So he was getting sleep at the time.
Not the amount that he needed.
Okay. So what was his sleep schedule like then?
His sleep schedule is very difficult. He would wake up between 12 and 2 a.m. and go to work and work up until about 12 to 2 p.m. whenever he would get home and get my sisters from school. My sisters got out of school at 2:45. From then, he would make them a snack, make sure that they ate. If he could, he would take a nap until I got home from school. Most of the time, he did not take a nap and he would spend time with my little sisters. And then from there, he wouldn't go to bed until between 8 and 10 p.m. until I got home from school and my mother asked him to pick up my sisters.
Okay. And then you stated that you feel that your father is in a better state now. Is that fair to say?
Yes,
And then you stated that your mom has kind of moved on, from the relationship. Is that correct?
yes,
But your father has also moved on as well, correct?
yes.
And you have a new girlfriend, correct?
I'm not aware.
You're not aware of the new girlfriend?
No.
That he has that talks about your mom?
No,
And you've never spoken with him about this girlfriend?
not girlfriend. I know of a friend.
And so when we're talking about this female friend that he has that he moved on with, I guess you're not familiar with the relationship that they have, but there's a possibility that that relationship could go south just as it did with your mom, correct?
I mean, there's a possibility for any relationship to go bad.
That's correct. And so given your dad's track record, I mean, you're not really sure how he would react to that if it occurred, correct?
No. Or yes,
You do know how he would react or you don't?
I do not know how he would react.
Okay, thank you. And then when we are also just talking about the strain on the relationship that you had with your mom because of this, have you kind of mended that or are you guys still out, like, not in the best of terms right now?
I would say my relationship with my mother is okay.
And did your dad kind of encourage you to reconcile with your mom at all?
Yes, absolutely. There was a time whenever she did leave, he was like, you need to go with her. You need to spend some time with her.
Right, I'm
And
talking about after the offense occurred and you weren't speaking with her. Did he encourage reconciliation at that point?
yes,
Okay. And I mean, has he taken accountability with you, letting you know that this was a decision that he made and it's no fault of your mom's?
yes,
Now, ultimately, you did state that you don't believe that your dad would ever engage in this type of conduct again. Is that what you said?
yes,
But you never anticipated that he would engage in slapping your mom, correct?
correct,
Or making threats to your mom about burning the house down starting in January of 2023, correct?
correct.
And then I also wanted to talk to you because in January of 2023, there was an incident where you were living in the home with your father, correct?
Correct.
And he locked himself in his bedroom, correct?
I'm not sure. You need to refresh my memory.
Okay.
We're asking different, yes.
State's Exhibit E, and this is just for identification purposes. Don't read from it. I just want you to read this to yourself and see if that refreshes your memory, okay?
The stuff that's highlighted?
Just this entire portion.
Okay. I don't believe I remember that. I do know at one point he was like, I guess, losing himself in a way that he was stressed out about everything. There was a few occasions where he was screaming and yelling. I don't recall calling my mom and telling her exactly what was going on, but there was always a part of me that could cool him off.
Okay, but that was something that would concern you, that he would kind of get in these states where he would either lock himself in his room or just start screaming as it is like the word fuck.
He never locked himself in his room that I can recall.
But when you're talking about this, I mean, what we're describing is him like uncontrollably yelling in the home.
Your Honor, I object to that as being misleading and suggestive when that's not what she's testified to. And again, now she's referring to a hearsay. That was part of my original objection, referring to that, something that's.
All right, with regards to your original objection, the witness is allowed to use any documents to refresh their memory. With regards to your objection to the last question, that will be sustained.
Okay, so I guess then just describe what you're saying you had to calm your dad down about, what type of behaviors was he engaging in at that time?
Mainly crying.
Okay.
He never really got like angry enough to say or do anything. He was always just like why couldn't I be the type of person that she wants me to be? So he would have a lot of crying episodes, and it was just a matter of me sitting him down and comforting him.
Okay. And then speaking about, I know you stated that you were not familiar with all the communications that went on between your mom and your dad, but were you aware that your dad told your mom, what would you do if I put a gun to Madison's head?
Was I aware of that?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. In fact, that it worried your mom so much she had to send her friend over to the home. Did you know that?
No.
Okay, and then if we're looking at State's Exhibit number 6, after your mom's friend Selena went to your residence, your dad texted your mom, "Thank you for having Selena come over last night. I really appreciate that." Do you recall or were you aware of that?
I wasn't aware of the text message. I do know that my parents' friend Selena did come over that night.
Okay, but were you aware that what sparked that is that your dad told your mom that he was going to put a gun to your head?
No, I was not aware of that.
Okay, and were you aware that your dad also made another threat about killing you and your sisters and then coming in court and laughing at your mom?
No, I was not aware of that.
Okay, and so even though you're representing to this jury that your dad will never engage in this behavior again, that's something that you're really just hoping for because he's your father, correct?
Not only because he is my father, but I know the type of person that he is.
Okay, well, we've already established that you knew that he was a good guy and that he engaged in all these things, many things that you don't know about, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and then he engaged in the shooting of the police officers, which is something that you never anticipated, correct?
Correct.
And so you can't look at this jury with a straight face and tell them he's never going to do this again if his life gets hard, right? That's just something that you're hoping for and praying for, right?
Correct.
Okay.
But I know if he gets the right help for it, it will never happen again.
You pass the witness, Turner.
Defense?
These text messages and the threats that this prosecutor was just telling you about, those all happened within 24 hours of the shooting.
I'm gonna object as to one, he's testifying. two,
Sustained.
he's misstating because the evidence clearly marked it started in January.
All right, that'll be sustained.
Okay, so text message they're talking about happened October 19th. When talking about a lover, right?
Correct.
October 19th. That's the day of the shooting, right?
Correct.
Okay. If I tell you the date of the threats about your sister were the night and then the morning or afternoon of the 19th, that would be the same day as the shooting, right?
Correct.
Okay. You agree that your dad was not in his right state of mind going into October 19th.
Objection leading.
Sustained.
Well, okay, what is your testimony about what you know now? What was the condition of your dad's mind and decision making on October 19th and a few hours before that? Did something happen?
I believe he had a break, a mental break.
Okay, and so were never any threats to you or your sisters prior to this 24-hour period, as far as you know, right?
As far as I know, correct.
Okay, now if we're gonna go back to January 2013, that period is when, that's the time where this affair thing came out with your mom taking on a lover after 22 years of being together with your dad, right?
I'm gonna object to leading.
Sustained.
Okay, so in January 2023, was there information that came out about your father's marriage to your mom that was very troublesome for him?
The affair.
And so this is about the time that the slap happened, right?
Correct.
And certainly your dad was initially very distraught about your mother's affair in their marriage.
Objection leading.
Was your father
Sustained.
very distraught, or I'm sorry, what were your dad's feelings about this affair when he first found out about it?
Me was angry just like anybody else would if their spouse or their significant other had done something as such.
Do you think the timeline for these messages that the prosecutor's been asking you about is important?
In a way, yes, but also no.
Okay, and so if we talk about early 2023, was that the time where there was a noticeable problem in the marriage because of the infidelity? Is that something that happened early in 2023?
Yes.
And I mean, you saw that. You were in the house when that came out, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, between early 2023 and up until we get to October 19th, October 18th, right before all this bad stuff happens, that's the period of time where your mother was staying with y'all. Were there any significant problems during that time?
No.
So there's the time he finds out about the affair. Then there's 9 months where he's trying his best to keep the family together, and your mother is a willing participant in that. Right.
Object to leading and testifying.
Sustained.
We praise, I'm sorry about that. Between early 2023 and then October of 2023, what did your mother do as far as the marriage goes and trying to keep it together?
She would come home and spend the night. Some nights she would come home, cook dinner. The nights that she didn't spend the night, she would go back to my grandparents' house and stay there. This did happen over the course of those 9 months from January to October. But it was like an off and on type of thing. It's almost like it restarted every month. She would, you know, go out with her friends, have a change of opinion, and not come home for a week or so. But then after that week or so, she would slowly start coming back. And then eventually she would spend the night and then go out with her friends one more time at the beginning of the month. And it just started right over again. She didn't want to come home for a month and then just started coming home slowly, spending the night, and then go out with her friends. It was just this constant every month type of thing. It would happen.
All right, so it was kind of a part-time wife at that point.
Yeah.
Separation, but she would act like a wife that was home.
Yes.
And then she wanted to go out with her girlfriends and go out, and hang out by herself with her friends. She would do that as well. During that time, what was your dad's intention about the marriage during this time where your mom was kind of going back and forth?
He wanted her to stay. He wanted to be that loving, happy family again.
All right. So to be clear, between the January portion of 23 and then up until right before the shooting, were there any blowups or arguments or things you saw that were out of the ordinary?
They were arguing a lot more often, mainly about bills, specifically the home. That was about it. They never really argued about anything else besides that.
Did you find out after the fact that the financial situation was probably worse than you realized?
Yes.
So, I mean, after all of this happens, I guess did you learn at some point in time that the mortgage was several months?
Object to meeting and testifying.
Sustained.
Did you ever learn after the shooting that there were problems with the payments on the house?
Yes.
When did you learn that?
I learned around the time when my mom was trying to put it on the market, how behind they were. And then about, I don't even know, I don't remember how long it was until our home went into foreclosure because my mother could not sell it.
During this time up till October, was your father selling a lot of his assets? Okay, let me ask you, did he sell a van that he drove that was his
Yes.
daily van? Did he do that for the money?
Yes, for the home. And he drove his motorcycle to work, even if it was cold, even if it was raining.
The maroon Trailblazer, was that a broken down Trailblazer who did that belong to?
That belonged to my tia. My father bought it off of her so that way he could fix it and have a car to drive to work and to have for me and my siblings.
Madison, I forgot to put this in. I know you brought this to my office. You recognize what this photo is?
Yes.
Did you bring that to my office?
Yes.
And where did you find that recently, and why did you think it was important?
I found it in one of my dad's old CD cases.
Okay.
And I felt as though it was important because it shows his volunteer work as a firefighter in the city of Dilley.
Okay. Now, you wanted to keep the photo, so I made a photocopy of it
Yes,
because you didn't want this to go into evidence, not be able to get it back.
correct.
Is the photocopy a true and accurate representation of what the photo is?
Yes,
Okay. And you wanted to keep the Polaroid itself, right?
yes.
Okay. Your Honor, I'm going to show patient exhibit number 4 and ask that be introduced into evidence.
You have no objection.
All right, defense exhibit number 4 is admitted without objection.
So what does that photo show?
It's my dad in a fire uniform.
Do you feel as though your dad is more than just this one horrible thing that he did?
Absolutely.
I'll pass.
Any
Just really quick,
questions?
Nelson. I mean, you stated that regarding the affair, your dad was angry, just like anybody else would be angry having been cheated on. Is that correct?
Yes.
But you would agree with me that many people get cheated on and don't resort to physical violence, correct?
Some do, yes.
And then you stated that the timeline of the text messages and all of that is important in some ways, but in others not. Is that correct?
Yes.
Because really, I mean, the action of shooting two unsuspecting police officers, setting up in a tactical position and aiming for center mass, that's really inexcusable. You would agree with me, right? That behavior is inexcusable.
Yes.
We pass the witness, Your Honor.
Nothing further.
All right, is this witness excused or subject to recall?
Yes, he's excused.
All right, the rule has been invoked. What that means, you're not allowed to discuss your testimony with anyone or view anything about this case until it's concluded.
Okay.
All right, you may step down if you'll remove the microphone. Oh, you may step down.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, everyone, just give me 5 minutes. Could I have parties approach?